stop building apps that have zero chance to win. Listen, I know how you feel. You open X, you see another iOS app making thousands of dollars, and then you open your revenue cat and you only see zero. And in this video, I will share one mindset shift that helped me to go from $0 to $4,000 in monthly revenue. Long story short, you should build apps that you understand how to market. If you know how to do ads, you should build apps that you can grow with ads. If you know how to do viral content, you need to build apps that you can go viral with. This is probably a very simple and maybe even obvious tip. But the thing is that most people miss is most indie hackers should build apps that can be marketed with App Store optimization because they can't do ads or viral content. And this is a thing that I think a lot of people miss. They build apps that they want, maybe that they would love to use themselves, but they miss if this app can be marketed with a SEO. And the thing is, the apps that you see on X, on YouTube, are a complete opposite to what most of the time is ideal match to App Store optimization. Here's the thing, if you want to build another blog apps and read Bible or another habit tracker, you will not grow it with App Store optimization. You have a chance with viral content, with ads, but not with ASO, because the niche is overcrowded. There are already too many competitors and top 10 has a lot of reviews. You can't grow there with ASO. Maybe 5 years ago you could, but now you can't. On the other hand, apps that are good with ASO are usually invincible. We don't talk about them, and the mental framework that I want you to use is this app is used by a 50-year-old grandma in Texas. She has a problem, she goes to App Store, she searches there for an app that she needs, for example, like supplement tracker, and she uses the app from top 5. This is the market that I want you to focus on because this market is huge. Today, I'm gonna tell you how to find apps for these niches. And keyword research is only half of the thing. The other thing is localization, because obviously, you can find a keyword in English, but also there are keywords in other languages. There is App Store Connect page, and luckily for you, Cloud Code can do, or any other agent can do, whole localization for you. I recorded a big video about this, so if you want to localize your apps and improve your ASO game, go watch that video and get the free skill that comes with that video. But in this video, I will focus only on keyword research, and most of the tips will be how to think what is a good keyword, what's not, and what free and paid tools to use for your keyword research. So when we think about a good keyword, there are 3 criteria which are usually important. 2 are really obvious. You want some sort of popularity, so you want people actually use it to find apps. You want low competition, because if the keyword is popular but the top 10 is taken, you have no chance. And the third one is a little bit less obvious. You can actually build a simple app around it, so you can monetize this keyword, because not every keyword is monetizable. In a lot of times you can find a good keyword, but it's just, you will just get an army of beggars who will never pay you, and it's not worth it. A good example for this is subscription tracker. So if you go to any keyword research tool, you will find that this keyword is not that bad, and it can be tempting to build an app for this. But if you think about this, most people who search for subscription trackers, they don't have that much money. That's why they want to track their finances, to kind of reduce the cost. If you try to sell this tool with subscription, you will just have hard times doing this. Obviously, you can have some leverage with lifetime deals, and the app is fairly simple, but still, it's a competitive keyword, but the audience there is not ideal for monetization. So we have 3 criteria: popularity, difficulty, and monetization. And we obviously will focus a little bit on the English keyword. So for example, if this keyword is doing good in US, Canada, or UK, it has good potential. There are 2 ways to do keyword research. One way is to do it for free, and the other one is paid. The free is a tool that I built. It's a keyword checker. It's really simple, and you can see it right here. So this keyword checker will give you a high-level understanding if keyword is good or not. And then we have a paid tool for App Store. I find that Astro is the best tool. I use it personally myself for 6 months, and all of ASO work that I have done for my apps, I've done with Astro. We'll go into deep dive into this, but high level, you have a free tool that I built for this video, and you have a paid tool, which is great, and almost everyone in the space uses this tool. So first is a free tool. Go to Activation Pal Keyword Checker, and you will find this free tool. It's no sign up needed. It's free. You can find data about keywords. So how to use it? For example, you can write calorie tracker, and you will see two main metrics. You will see popularity and difficulty. It's kind of obvious you want popularity to go as high as possible while difficulty is as low as possible. But this will be very hard. You will see that most of the keywords that are kind of, first thought will be really difficult because a lot of competition. But I'm going to give you a few tips how to think about this and how to understand that keyword can actually be quite good. First, focus on the sub niches. For every big niche, you need to find a smaller part. You have people who want to track calories overall, and you have, for example, people on the bulk that only focus on hitting daily protein goals. Second, even if you see that the keyword has a certain amount of difficulty, there are some good indicators that you can still win. So what is bad indicator? It's easy to start. You see top 10, you see multiple apps with thousands of reviews. If you see millions of reviews, that's usually like the red flag that you don't need to proceed. But you see 5 apps with thousands reviews, that's kind of bad. But if in top 10 you see for direct match with keyword, you see an app with less than 100, it means that when people search for this specific keyword, there is an app that you can overtake with some time. And this is usually a very good indicator. If in top 10 you see direct match app less than 100, that's a very good signal to go and build that app. So use my free tool. If you get some idea, go and check there and you will have some idea, if the keyword is good or not. But if you have some apps, or for example, you want to do a more comprehensive research, I cannot stress enough how big an upgrade was for me to use Astro. Astro is a macOS app. You download it and you kind of search for keywords there. You can just search for keywords. You can track keywords for your apps, track for competitors. And today I'm going to give you a few tips how to use it the best way to find the good keywords. So first is it has a very similar logic. You have popularity and difficulty there, but you need to understand it that with popularity there, the big problem is a lot of keywords will have popularity 5. And this is like a thing that needs to be addressed. Popularity 5 is ambiguous thing. It doesn't necessarily mean the keyword is dead. The keyword can still have some traffic, but it's not enough to register the number. And this number is a proxy. So you see the 5s, usually it's a bad sign, but if you are confident that there are people who search for that exact keyword, you should double down on this and proceed. Because again, 5 is not the ultimate decision. A lot of my apps have monthly traffic from App Store, and it's not zero. It's just non-significant to have a number. So that kind of is important to say. The difficulty is quite good. I find that they're really good at understanding difficulty. And yeah, so how to use Astro the best way. My number one tip is to stop using Astro yourself. You obviously can add keywords and do all of the stuff, but they have an MCP, and I personally don't remember the last time I did the manual check of keywords. Instead, I use agent. So for example, I want to do a brainstorm and I tell agent, find top 20 countries with the highest GDP, and then find in these countries top 20 sports, emerging sports that are super popular right now. And then for each sport, think of at least 10 apps, tools, and some sort of problems that can be solved with iOS apps, and check their popularity and difficulty in Astro. And as a result, I get a completed keyword research for what are the best keywords. And then I just sort by popularity and I look for keywords with some popularity, but most importantly, kind of medium to easy level of difficulty. And everything is done from the terminal. I don't open Astro until the report is ready. And most of the time I get the summary in terminal and just proceed with this approach. And this has been working for me incredibly. I found at least 10 apps for my portfolio with this way, because if you just go and build apps with no idea of how the main keyword performs in App Store, you just hoping, to get lucky. Or you will end up with 0 installs from App Store and you will be pushed to do all of the marketing outside of App Store. So you need to record TikToks, buy ads, create some content. Why limit yourself with this marketing strategy if you can also have a nice keyword for App Store optimization? So this is my go-to recommendation for Astro, use it with agents, but here are a few more tips. So first is check more than US. Obviously you want a keyword that performs well in US, but let's be honest, it's quite hard to find, a keyword with some popularity and very low difficulty, but you will actually find it really good to also check UK and Australia, sometimes Canada, because a lot of keywords that have popularity of 5 on the US might have some popularity there because Astro and other tools, they all use Apple Ads API as an proxy, and a lot of people test campaigns in those countries. So I definitely recommend doing this. I got a lot of revenue outside of US. Obviously US spends a lot, has a great conversion, but it's also 10x harder to get to top 10 there. Don't overlook the other rich countries and definitely check them. Secondly, always check not only popularity and difficulty, but also top 10 apps that are being shown. Because if you see that the keyword that you are aiming for is used in the name and subtitles in the top 10 multiple times, that's usually a very good signal that the keyword is great, because name and subtitle are tier 1 inputs for ASO, and people need to prioritize what to put there because it's so limited but so important. And if other apps who already done keyword research put this keyword in their name or subtitle, it usually means this keyword brings installs. So I definitely recommend doing this, even if the popularity is 5 and you see that a lot of apps do that. That's a good signal that you should actually go ahead. So this is Astro, one of the best tools to do keyword research. If you have your apps, also obviously add them, track the performance in each keyword, in each store. If you have competitors and you want to know how they're doing, also do it. To finish this video, I want to give you 2 tips about the whole keyword research thing. So obviously, number 1, we don't even repeat it. Always focus on the sub niche and stop building apps you see on X. That goes without saying. This is not even a tip. So second tip is, if you found a good keyword, build a tool and build it fast. Don't store it. Don't wait 3 months to build the perfect version. Your goal is to get good enough version to App Store, and if it's performing, double down. If it's not performing, to pivot. Your goal is not to craft the best version, because meanwhile 10 other indie hackers are building apps for this keyword. And second tip is, try to focus more on apps that are ultimately needs and not wants. So a good example of this, something that your doctor tells you, your government tells you, family member tells you to do is usually a need, because the consequences of not doing it are very bad and people don't want this to happen. If your doctor tells you you need to eat protein, you can ignore this, but the negative consequences of early death is kind of bad. But a lot of people listen to this and they still focus on finding wants, because wants are more enjoyable to build. It's more fun to build a cool tracker of how many matchas you have drinking this month. And maybe if you are smart enough, you can monetize it, and maybe it will even earn more than the protein tracker. But it's so hard. The conversion rate is lower because people don't have negative consequences that are pushing them. It's always a secondary budget for these kind of apps in the people's minds. Do I need to make a purchase? Do I need to install it? Open your portfolio. Sort every app. It's either a need or a want. And you will see that needs, if you have any, they convert much better. So whenever you find keyword, even if a want keyword has some popularity and difficulty, but it has, a decent alternative with a need keyword, focus on the need, because the conversion rate is much better. And your goal is not always to find the good keyword. It's a popularity, difficulty, and monetization. Some keywords are non-monetizable because they ultimately want app that people don't want to pay for. That's it. Simple as that. If you are stuck at $0, it's a good exercise to take a look at your portfolio and think, do I build wants? Do I, over-engineer my first version? And if those, answers are both yes, try something new when you find the next keyword. All right, that's the whole video. The keyword research is so important. It's 50% of app store optimization. A bad keyword will ruin your app. A good keyword will lift your app, even if your app is crap. And I definitely recommend not skipping this. But the good news, you can do a lot of things with AI automation. And if you have a budget, use Astro. This is the best tool, hands-on. And I use it. Everyone use it. It's a great tool. If you don't have a budget, you don't have apps to track, use my free tool. It's amazing. I will personally use it as an alternative because it has a different estimation of popularity, and I will definitely double check what Astro says compared to my free tool. All right, in the next video, I will share more about my app portfolio, and definitely also download the free cloud code skill that I built and I showcased in the last video to do localization for your apps not leaving your terminal. Bye bye.